Okay, we'll start with this. I came across a rather misleading article about Claressa Shields' upcoming fight with Kay Scotch. With an undefeated record, cultural resonance, Claressa Shields becomes big ticket seller in boxing.
What's the misleading part?
Claressa Shields is turning into one of the biggest stars in boxing regardless of gender, and her drawing power is now showing signs of extending around America. A two-time Olympic gold medalist, Shields has made a name for herself with high-profile fights, an 18-0 undefeated record, and a movie about her life. She will face Kay Scotch for the WBC and WBA middleweight titles at the State Farm Arena on August 15th. Her first time fighting in Atlanta, Shields' last fights have all taken place in Michigan, where she's grown a significant fan base that now turns out in droves to see her compete.
What's the misleading part?
4 of the fights were at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, while the other was at the Dort Financial Center in Flint. Jim Boone, president of KO Tickets, a broker that works with Shields' promoter, Salida Promotions, said that in his view, Shields is the second biggest seller at the gate in American boxing after male star Gervonta Davis. She's gone from fighting in tiny arenas with 600 people a decade ago to fighting before nearly 18,000 at the Little Caesars Arena earlier this year. Boone said he started to notice a major uptick in interest in Shields a few months after her biopic The Fire Inside was released in late 2024. Shields was set to fight Danielle Perkins in Flint. It was absolutely mind-blowing to me that as a smaller, older, non-high-profile hockey arena in Flint, Michigan, in the middle of winter, we were literally shipping tickets nationwide. Houston, Atlanta, LA, Baltimore, New York, Boone said. I would have guessed that 90% of the packages would have gone to Michigan, another 10% in the Midwest. It was closer to 70% in Michigan and 30% not just to the Midwest, but like everywhere. It really showed the explosion of the movie, I believe. Shields is one of the most established fighters not signed to Jake Paul's MVP, which has been building a roster with many of the biggest names in women's boxing. Shields has been signed to Salida since 2017, becoming a free agent last summer before later renewing with Salida. The promoter said to SBJ in a statement that sales were off to a great start for the fight in August. It's been an incredible process of seeing her flourish and become a bona fide superstar that she is, particularly meaningful because women's sports have been making the news lately, and Claressa's truly changed and redefined the face of boxing in the United States. Salida Promotions founder Dimitri Salida told SBJ she is one of the biggest, if not the biggest star at the gate and on television as well. Salida said in why
New York
could be a city for a future Shields bout. Boone said Shields fights are flipping the usual gender split of fights, with hers now routinely having 70% of ticket buyers being females. I mean, she has really created something that is completely unique in boxing today, he said.
So what's supposed to be the misleading part?
That if you read through this article with no prior knowledge of Claressa and how she is perceived, you would think she was America's darling, America's sweetheart. You would think that the ticket sales are being solely moved by her, as the article makes no mention of who else is on the card and what kind of event it is. It's a co-promotion between Salida and Zeus Network. On that undercard,
You've got a good number of influencers and uber celebrities like Ray J, Orlando Brown. They're helping to sell some of those tickets too, you know.
there's a couple of baddies also on that undercard. Public figures that have a following of their own. So when you talk about how the tickets are moving, you probably can't pinpoint who exactly the customers are there to see, but it's fair to say that those influencers and those celebs, they might have something to do with it.
They have their own audience.
And that is where the article becomes misleading. It makes mention of Claressa Shields' movie that, when it was released, bombed at the box office. The opening weekend, alongside crowded holiday titles like Nosferatu, A Complete Unknown, it grossed a very weak $2 million over its traditional opening weekend and only about $4.3 million over its 5-day start. The total run, the film struggled to draw theatrical crowds, finishing quickly outside the main box office charts with a minimal domestic haul before moving to digital and streaming platforms.
So what's your point?
That this Business Insider article and Jim Boone's account of events, as well as Dimitri Salida's, is misleading. They have a vetted interest in Claressa's success, so of course they're going to paint a picture like that.
They got a fight to sell.
But ask your average boxing fan how excited they are to watch Claressa Shields fight a very overmatched Kay Scotch, who's up there in age, only has a little over a handful of fights, and nobody gives a shot in the dark to even make this fight competitive.
It's misleading.
And public perception of the fighter, while it is true that Claressa has amassed a lot more visibility than usual as of late, it's not in a good way. There are a good number of content creators whose entire channels seem centered around tearing her down. So if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole story, because when you don't, it's misleading.
Any Shields supporters hearing this video back will be quick to call me a hater.
Of course, that is this younger generation's knee-jerk reaction to the facts as they are. But if you're having an adverse reaction to this, you're at odds with reality.
You would have to be, as it would be very disingenuous for any publication to paint this picture where Claressa's all of a sudden America's darling.
Have you seen what people are saying? I mean, this isn't punditry, it's paid propaganda.
It's deliberately misleading.
It would have to be lacking this much context. Men's lightweight news, Lamont Roach versus William Zepeda sees viewership increase on TNT Sports. After William Zepeda's dominant UD win over Lamont Roach on August 1st, which was streamed live on TNT and DAZN worldwide, the TNT Sports viewership numbers are now in. Fights ATW reached out to TNT because no viewership numbers were released via a press release or social media post, as they had for their inaugural July 4th event. The PR rep for TNT stated that they don't typically put out numbers for every single event or telecast they broadcast, but they were willing to send over the information below. The August 1st edition of the fight was highlighted by strong viewership for its pair of World Championship bouts, with Lamont Roach versus William Zepeda averaging 748,000 viewers, and Raymond Murataya versus Robson Conceição averaging just a little under at 738,000. The telecast peaked at about 786,000 viewers during championship action, with the final 2 hours averaging 694,000 viewers, up 2% compared to the July 4th edition, which was Abdullah Mason's fight. The full fight telecast averaged 598,000 viewers, generating nearly six times the audience of the same Saturday on TNT a year ago, and nearly triple TNT's August 2025 time period average.
In layman's terms, whatever they showed last year did not bring in anywhere near as much viewership as what they showed this one in August. And what did they show? They showed William Zepeda versus Lamont Roach. So the content is drawing eyeballs to the platform. It's doing its job.
Across its Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, and TNT Sports US social platforms, TNT Sports posted a 19% increase in video views and a 13% increase in impressions for boxing content for Fight Week content surrounding the August 1st event. Overall, the fight in August reached 3.2 million total viewers, includes weigh-in, press conference, pre- and post-match coverage, on par with the first fight. The fight series has reached about 5.6 million total viewers to date for all fights, includes weigh-ins, press conferences, pre- and post-match coverage. That's combining the two cards they've done so far.
Now, these are the numbers that they got by reaching out to TNT. Does that also mean that DAZN have a separate set of numbers that you could add to these?
Because there's no mention of what the fight series has done on that platform when comparing the inaugural event and the one on August 1st. The latter saw a slight dip, as the championship card peaked at 820,000 on July 4th versus 786,000 on August 1st. That could be a direct reflection of one being a national holiday with gatherings taking place nationwide, and the other being a typical Saturday night. But it also competes with the WWE's SummerSlam event in Minnesota, the company's second biggest event of the year behind WrestleMania. I only bring this up because there are some fans that watch both and may have opted to watch SummerSlam rather than boxing that night.
That's a stout observation from Abraham Gonzalez. I mean, the WWE is so much bigger now than it was when I was a kid. It's practically an ATM.
It's like printing money over there. So that if William and Lamont had to go head-to-head with that, all things considered, I'd say these are still very good numbers. Although the numbers on the surface aren't enormous, it provides a platform for boxing to reach a casual audience on Saturday nights. Even with Roach and Zepeda not being household names, they still put up good numbers. Not to make another wrestling comparison, but WWE's next. and AEW on TBS, which have been on network TV for quite some time, average about 600 to 800,000 viewers weekly. So the fight is right on par with other weekly live sports that aren't the major ones like MLB, NBA, etc. If the numbers can maintain right around where the first two events have been, it would be a good sign for boxing and would give the brass at TNT Sports hope of becoming more excited to have boxing on their network.
Ear to the street and eyes on the future, because that's exactly what I was thinking when I read through this article. TNT is not yet a major player in the sport of boxing. They're not all that invested, but in the future they could be, so long as this keeps up.
Acquiring the rights to a fight is actually a lot less expensive than what you see with other sports like the NBA, MLB, NHL, NFL, so on and so forth. A boxing match compared to that stuff,
It's a drop in a bucket.
and DAZN as a platform has grown very crowded as of late, to where one or some of those promoters over there might decide to do a little bit more business with TNT and vice versa.
Top Rank and Golden Boy Promotions almost immediately came to mind.
Doesn't mean they would abandon DAZN entirely, but they might do a little bit more business with TNT independently. TNT continues to garner more eyeballs to their platform with what is their boxing content that, as stated, is less expensive than other sports rights. The third installment of the quote-unquote fight takes place on September 4th, when former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz, who recently signed with Matchroom Boxing, faces Damian Neba in a scheduled 12-round fight. Heavyweight boxing has always attracted a casual audience, so we are only a few weeks away from seeing whether Ruiz versus Neba boosts viewership. For those not fully understanding the nature of this partnership between TNT and DAZN to share boxing cards throughout both platforms, it's intended to be beneficial for both by giving TNT relatively inexpensive content to show to their viewers and getting DAZN fighters, more exposure off-platform, because on an app, you can only advertise but so much to people that are already subscribed. But to get an outside audience, you need outside help.
The only drawback, I'd say, is by sharing cards with another platform, it sort of takes away from the reason you should subscribe to DAZN.
You don't need to be subscribed to them to watch Zepeda versus Roach or Mason versus Bell, Ruiz versus Neba.
Good number of existing subscribers have found themselves asking why even subscribe to the platform when most of the good content and the solid fights are hidden behind a paywall, and some of the stuff on the regular schedule is over there at TNT.
So why pay? Why subscribe?
DAZN is actually more expensive than other apps. It's more expensive than ESPN Plus, Paramount Plus.
That's the drawback. DAZN can't really justify the cost out to the consumer to subscribe to their platform if they're sharing cards with another platform. Though if the goal is to expand boxing's audience in the United States, this is an effective way to do it, to make boxing affordable again, even if it means outsourcing fights.
It's working.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, ahead of his upcoming fight with Benn, Ryan Garcia says he has Lopez, Romero, and Shakur Stevenson as options after Benn. But he is ready for the rematch anytime soon against his arch-nemesis, Haney. I'm not in a rush to make that fight happen. They have to sit with that loss.
As of April of 2024, it's been 2 years since Ryan and Devin shared the ring, and you can tell that no, Ryan's really not in a rush to run it back with that guy because he's not the one that needs a rematch.
Why do I have to beg for it? I'm here. I'm about to beat up Benn. I want Teofimo Lopez, Romero, and Shakur Stevenson. I have a lot of options. I'm not really worried about Devin right now. If it happens, it happens. All these guys obviously have to come to me. You know what I mean? I'm definitely the lottery fight. If you want to be a huge name, I'm the guy to do it. You have to get through me. Devin Haney, the WBO welterweight champion, and Ryan Garcia have been at each other's throats ever since squaring off in April of 2024. Garcia dropped Haney 3 times and originally scored a majority decision win that was later ruled a no contest when it was revealed that Garcia tested positive for a banned substance.
Major detail that doesn't seem so major in today's more cynical boxing landscape where so many fighters already have popped hot.
Like the guy he's about to fight.
That nobody nobody's really hung up on Ryan Garcia's positive test.
And it's not simply for love of Ryan and those who support him, but the feeling that underneath it all, this is the industry standard. All the top-level guys and the ones making 7 figures or more per fight are likely on something, because when there are that many zeros, if the difference between winning and losing is a little old syringe, they're gonna keep up with the Joneses. Garcia was subsequently fined and suspended before returning in May of last year to a UD defeat against Romero. Garcia bounced back, however, last time out in February by beating Mario Barrios for the crown he currently carries.
This will be the first year in a while that Ryan Garcia fights more than just once.
I actually think that Barrios stylistically was a harder fight than Benn will be, Garcia said. He was very tall, snappy, fast, and strong. He had a strong, big-ass head. It was hard to knock that dude out. If I had a different mentality, I would have knocked him out. I was trying to be disciplined. It was pure boxing. I wasn't trying to do too much. And then I hurt my hand in the 6th round. Garcia emphasized that he's no longer dealing with hand issues and plans on effectively using his mitts to make quick work of Conor Benn when they meet next month at the T-Mobile Arena to headline a Zuffa boxing show that will stream on Paramount Plus in the United States and DAZN in the United Kingdom and Ireland. I feel like if I don't knock him out within 5, I'll be a little disappointed in myself, Garcia said, but I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him and hopefully knock him out later. I am training to knock him out under 5. This fight is 5 and below. I'm here to become a legend.
I expect him to do just that for the simple fact that Conor Benn has not fought as a welterweight in about 4 years, and if he can get there, he's likely going to be emaciated, he's likely going to be drained, after which, I don't think the Devin Haney fight is next. It's been widely reported that Ryan Garcia only has 1 fight left under his existing Golden Boy Promotions deal, and I don't think he would roll the dice with Devin for that fight.
If he ever even has it, I believe that he would save it for Zuffa and for Turkey. Let them pay for it instead of just DAZN on a DAZN budget. We've known for some years now, even before the pandemic, that Ryan Garcia has been at odds with Oscar De La Hoya and has been trying to find a way off that promotion.
Now, there have been some fighters like Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez who reached deals directly with the DAZN platform. No promoter involved. So that is a possibility for Brian.
But even with that, I don't think they would pay as much money for him as Zuffa Boxing would, as Zuffa Boxing could. And I believe that 2 fights from now, so long as Ryan can stay winning, that will be his destination.
The Devin Haney rematch is on ice for the foreseeable future.